Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of Dan Tony Sports. My name is Dan Snyder, joined tonight by Tony Casper and Dan Beebe. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Freaking fantastic.
So,
Very enthusiastic coming out of Tony.
We're talking about my favorite conference in college football.
Woo! The Southwestern.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Overhyped.
got a fun show tonight. We're gonna speaking of hype, we're gonna be talking about Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. We're gonna talk about Ezekiel Elliott and his suspension, and of course we're gonna have our Lonzo Ball update, and we're gonna talk about the SEC, Southeastern Football Conference. But before we do that, as always, we have our pigskin poetry. And it's going to be a recurring theme, apparently.
no singing this week?
No, I'm not going to sing this week.
Okay, no singing. All
No,
right,
no
all right.
singing.
Let me see if I can figure out the reoccurring theme. I'm gonna guess.
Take
The
a guess.
Jets are bad.
Very, very close.
The Browns are bad,
It's
too.
Christian Hackenberg.
All right. Yeah, well, we're not gonna have that, fam.
No.
Not that we need it.
Christian Hackenberg just got lapped. Watson, Trubisky, and Mahomes made him look bad. He played okay, but even I can check down. And he is not better than Josh McCown. He can't break a huddle. How sad is that? The Jets should ask for Mark Sanchez back. At least he took them to a championship game. And Hackenberg will never be able to say the same. But boy, did Trubisky look good. People want him to start, but I don't know that he should. Mahomes looks strong, and he's got an arm. Deshaun Watson looks shifty, avoided harm. Deshaun Kaiser has that underdog charm. But Hackenberg is showing cause for alarm. Petty is the guy that should be starting. The fact that he's not is very disheartening. They treated him like trash and tossed him away. But I guess that's just the New York Jet way.
Yep.
All right, I wasn't totally off about the Jets being poop.
No, you were actually, if I were grading this like a class, you'd 97.5%.
I'll take it. Better than most grades I got in class anyway.
Yeah.
98, round it up.
Yeah, we'll round it up. We'll give you
The
98.
bell curve, that's 100.
Sure.
I don't think that's how the bell
If you go to
curve
University of North Carolina,
Sure.
creating all sorts of classes.
Yeah, just making things up.
We're showing, literally, there's a class. I watched this documentary about paying football players, college football players, and one of the things they brought up is how the disparity between schools like Stanford and North Carolina, where Stanford you have to go through a rigorous academic course and also a rigorous football course, but at North Carolina they sign football and basketball players up for classes that are literally just show up.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, actually, it wasn't... It was Donaldson out of USC who recently had this similar comment. He actually said when being interviewed, it's almost impossible...
You mean Josh Rosen from UCLA?
UCLA, not USC. He said it's almost impossible for a kid, realistically, because we're talking about guys in their 18, 19, 20 years old, to take these college classes with the work schedule that's demanded at some of these schools and play football at the same time. He actually said, I wonder how many championships Alabama would win if they had to meet the criteria of the student athletes at a school like UCLA, which is a good question. Because how good would that team really be if they had the same academic standards? I mean, that's one thing that I think gets overshadowed when you look at someone like the Big Ten. Because to be in the Big Ten, you have to meet certain academic standards by your student body.
Which is absolutely crazy that Rutgers meets those standards.
Oh, they probably meet the standards academically. They don't meet it athletically by any means in anything that I know of.
Women's basketball.
Okay. I just got off the phone with my cousin literally 3 minutes ago, and he hit rock bottom because he didn't like any of the lines in baseball, so he bet WNBA. I ended the conversation with, okay, we're done here. And I hung up.
Oh, I like women's basketball. College basketball more so than WNBA, But I like women's basketball.
By all means, it's certainly,
It's basketball.
It's basketball nonetheless. I mean, it's better than some of the things you can get out there.
Soccer.
Yeah, not to mention till fall, baseball's going to be kind of somewhat flat, I think, until October rolls around. Some good pennant races out there.
You'll get a few. The East is still up for grabs. I've been watching it, but
Central's.
It doesn't matter until you really boil down to like that last week when you really know who's alive, who's dead, who's still fighting for something. That's when baseball gets interesting.
Where the hell did the Cardinals come from all of a sudden, though?
Let me ask you, though, is there any doubt that this, I almost said Super Bowl, that the World Series champion is coming from the NL West? Because who's going to beat the Dodgers? Who's going to beat the Diamondbacks?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, the Astros are a very good team. They just lack the talent in the bullpen for what it's worth. It's gonna be interesting how it plays out. I always like playoff anything, so I'll take playoff baseball. But right now, this is really teams. This is the time where you almost like in a beer sense, you let things ferment. You're gonna find out what rises to the top and what's gonna fall to the bottom. Find out who's who and who's not. And I mean, baseball right now this time of year is so monotonous. Like I can't pay attention to a game at 2:00 on Tuesday.
Speaking of falling to the bottom in baseball, Aaron Judge.
Well, pitchers were going to figure him out eventually.
Maybe.
What, 1 for 30 on strike 2 breaking ball swings or something? Striking out?
No, he's on a 31-game strikeout
record, which is a Yankee record.
Yeah.
31 straight games he struck out.
Here's the thing. If I was a pitcher, if I was a coach, don't pitch him anything in the zone. Even stuff that leaks out of the zone could be questionable for him. And get him to try and chase some things. And if you can't get him out, I'd rather him be on first base with a walk than rounding the bags.
Of course.
So teams are going to realize the weapon that they have, and they're going to do the best they can to avoid it.
Absolutely. But we'll save baseball for a later episode. We've got something coming up next week. Next week.
Already.
Yes, Saturday.
Next Saturday, August 26th. And that is Floyd Mayweather putting his undefeated 49-0 streak against the technically undefeated Conor McGregor.
0-0 is undefeated, yeah. I mean, as a boxer.
As a boxer, exactly.
It's actually a boxing debut. It might be the most anyone's ever been paid for a boxing debut. I'm pretty sure it will.
Yeah, yeah. So,
assuming he doesn't kick him in the head.
Oh my god. No. We'll get to that in just a minute, because I have some strange theories for what's going to happen.
Okay.
But this, where did this even come from? Why Conor McGregor challenged Floyd Mayweather? What made him think that was a good idea? I'll tell you what it was. Money.
Well, money's obviously the driving factor.
I mean, if he was Floyd Fish Tender Mayweather, do you think this fight would be happening?
Tenderloin?
Or Floyd Fish Stick, whatever you want to call them?
Probably not. I mean,
no.
It is about money, but I think you can go back further. This derived from the incident where Mayweather was arrested for beating his wife, and McGregor had something to say about that. Even back then, Ronda Rousey had something to say about that. Clearly, she hasn't had much to say about anything recently, but that's what happens when you get your ass kicked twice in the ring, and it just shuts you up real quick. McGregor's not going to stop doing that, because McGregor could get beat up and he'd still insult you while you were pummeling his face. It's who he is. So I'm sure that really sparked the animosity, but there's no doubt that the driving factor to make this happen is money. I mean, it's been the driving factor through Mayweather's entire career.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather has been the ultimate show-off.
Of course. I mean, you can do that when you have a record, money, and a record that has O at the end.
When you are...
running $100 bills on camera and...
Right.
Aviators or whatever. Yeah.
Right. I'm willing to go out on this limb, at least in, recent memory or what I've seen. He's by far the best boxer. And I'm willing to say he's the best boxer ever. Now, am I going to say that Mike Tyson wouldn't beat the snot out of him? No, different weight class. It's not fair.
Well, yeah, no, it's hard to not consider him part of at this point, if you're not considering Mayweather in the conversation of the greatest of all time, because I don't know that you necessarily, because of boxing being strictly weight class, and I understand people can change weight classes, but being the fact that it's so divided like it is, I don't feel you can ever have a definitive GOAT, if you will. But there are people that deserve to be in the conversation of greatest of all time in the sport like boxing. And if Mayweather isn't considered by you, then you're clearly just hating on him, because the numbers in his style and the way that he's fought his entire career speaks for itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can honestly sit here and name 5 boxers from different generations that were all great, that I think, it's not very fair to compare. I know that Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya, but how young was Mayweather compared to how old was De La Hoya?
De La Hoya was... The problem I've had with Mayweather is Mayweather's fought a lot of people that's been at the end of their career. Everybody's going to say, oh...
Or at the beginning of their career.
It's been one or the other. It's not somebody that's in their prime and ready to go. And...
he fought Canelo in his prime. He fought Shane Mosley in his prime. I'd be
interested to look into that and find out what the results were, or if they were decisions or knockouts.
Him and Pacquiao, I'd say, are at the same level. Pacquiao, they retired.
Pacquiao being older than he is. Pacquiao was... That's just... The fact of the matter, that's the one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way with Mayweather, is his delaying on the Pacquiao fight. Why delay? Why was there constantly...
He wasn't delaying.
Oh, yeah, he was. Are you kidding me?
Pacquiao was the one delaying.
No.
Pacquiao wouldn't submit to the blood test.
Why would you submit to a blood test when you've never tested positive in your entire career for a single drug? Why would you go above and beyond what is asked by the sport because you want to appease the person that you're fighting, even though he's never requested this with any boxer? It was a stall tactic. Don't confuse yourself with this, because why would you do that? Why would you make a test? Why would you request a test that never is requested by the Boxing Association, never has been requested by the fighter you're fighting before, but now he wants to test it even though your record as far as test results are perfect? Why do that? That's pointless. It's a waste of time and it's erroneous. Because he did take the blood test and it was fine. So now there's even more of the issue for why were you dragging your feet if you're this self-proclaimed greatest boxer of all time?
That's a good point.
Well, because he felt strongly about the blood test.
No, he felt shook. Let's be real here.
Oh, so you're saying that he was afraid of Pacquiao?
Yes, I am solely in the bracket that Mayweather has chosen and picked his fights, cherry-picked his fights based on what's going to be his advantage. And he has done it throughout his career so he can hold that O record. Yep. I know he's done this because there is no other reason for that kind of nonsense. There's none. Get in the ring and fight. You are an overpaid clown to me. Get in the boxing ring and hit each other for my amusement. This is what I pay for. I don't pay for you to... You knew what was happening. You knew what you signed up for.
Right. So, I think regardless, Floyd Mayweather would have won.
Maybe, but there's other factors in that. First of all, the fight was extremely terrible. And a lot of Mayweather's fights are garbage. Because Mayweather does nothing but land his shots when he can and dances around people. It's been his MO from day one. He's very elusive, and he's probably the most elusive fighter we've seen since someone like Muhammad Ali that can duck these punches. But the fact that he does this by just getting pop shots, and he has the largest mouth to say that he is amazingly great, to the fact that you don't want to stand toe-to-toe. I would love to see Mayweather at any point in his career stand toe-to-toe in the center of the ring and trade blows with somebody, because there's no way that he is standing at the end of that. He gets knocked the F out quick by some of the people he fought. He only won because he could avoid them.
I mean, it's not like he doesn't have any knockouts.
No, it's not like
he's got 26.
Right, 26 out of what would be 50 in here.
More than half of his fights ended in knockouts.
And who were the knockouts? Because I can almost tell you that the people that he didn't knock out were the actual fighters. People who have long careers.
All right, I'm gonna look this up.